Welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is AB, and on my YouTube channel called The Dreadful, we're going to be getting into some pretty heavy stuff, mostly going to be about, true crime, murderers, kidnappings, things of that nature, basically. And I want to note that I'm in no way, shape, or form trying to idolize or worship or praise these people. I'm simply trying to bring to light what they want to keep hidden in the dark, under the bed, in the closet, I'm pulling those monsters out. And today, our topic is really something. He's something. So his name is Joseph Ray METHENY, but he was called Joe METHENY, so I'm going to call him Joe. And he was born on March 2nd, 1955. And his mother said that he was a pretty good kid. He did good in school. He wasn't, rude or anything like that. And Joe claimed later on in his confession that he was neglected and abused in his home, and that his father was an alcoholic, and then he died when Joe was 6, and just a bunch of this stuff. And his mother later came out and was like, no, none of that's true. We were poor, but we were happy. It was no neglecting, no abuse, nothing of that was going on. So kind of weird. I don't really know who to believe, because you got the mother saying this and you got him saying that. It's like, and the siblings never came out and said anything. So I really don't know which is actually true, but whatever. And then in 1973, he was 18 years old. He had just graduated from high school. He joined the army, and he said that he served in Vietnam, but his mother said that he served in Germany. And also at this time, there was no American involvement with Vietnam, so it was kind of like, why were you in, it was like, you know what, whatever you say, dude. At this point, it was just like, whatever. But while he was in the army, he somehow got his hands on some heroin and got addicted to heroin. Really sad, to be honest with you, but yeah. And he ended up in South Baltimore, and he was homeless. And his mother said that, while he was in the army, he never, reached out to him. He never reached out to her even after he got out the army. She actually stated, quote, "He just kept drifting further and further away. I think the worst thing that ever happened to him was drugs." It's a sad, sad story. That's exactly what she said, and she's right. It is really sad. But he never reached out to her. But so he ended up on the streets of South Baltimore, and he was homeless. But though he was homeless and on crack and heroin, and also was a really big alcoholic, he had a job, and people in the workforce said oh, he was he was cool, he was smart, he was well mannered, intelligent, well spoken, he wasn't bad or anything. And so it was wow. And then in 1994, he met a woman. I couldn't find her name anywhere, but I guess it's kind of good. But he met a woman, and they fell in love, and she was also heavily on drugs, and she was also homeless. But whatever, they got married, they had a kid, and he was like, okay, I've got a family now, let's try to get my life together. He didn't, but he tried. He bought a trailer, a small trailer home for them to live in. And, it was good for a while, but one day, he came home, and his wife, the kid, who was 6 at the time, and everything in the house was gone. Everything was gone. And he was like, okay, so now he's searching for his wife, and it was a whole 6-month period of him just trying to find, his wife, where they at, And then one day, he was getting drugs from his dealer, I guess, and since it was, the homeless community in that area was very close. Not close, friendly close, but close, everybody knew everybody. So Joe asked the drug dealer, hey, my wife, I can't find her. I don't know where my wife went. Do you know where my wife is at? And the drug dealer was like, oh, yeah, she slept with so-and-so, And then she left, and she's working as a sex worker under the bridge. And the drug dealer also said that their kid got taken away for abuse and neglect. This made Joe angry. This made Joe really, really, really angry. So he's like, okay, where they at? Right? So hearing this information from his drug dealer, Joe knew exactly what bridge, she was working under, and because he was homeless and he lived under that bridge, so he went straight there, and he came in contact with two men. And now Joe was a big guy. Let me tell you, he was real big. He was, I think, 6'1" or 6'2". I seen like two different answers, like on all the sources. Some said 6'1", some said 6'2". I guess it doesn't make a difference. It's only an inch. But he was tall, and I think it said he weighed like 350, 400 pounds. So he was a big dude, right? He was a large man compared to the average man. And so he came in contact with these two guys, right, under the bridge. And he was like, yo, have y'all seen, my wife? I've been looking for my wife, and my kid. I can't find her. And they're like, no. And for some reason, this upsets him. And I guess being on like all those different types of drugs, it really like messes with your brain, makes you react differently to certain situations. So he got mad, really mad, like angry mad. And I guess he found like an axe just sitting around or something. I guess he somehow had an axe, and yeah, he killed him. And then he was about to leave, but then he seen a woman, and he was like, another homeless woman, and he was like, oh dang it, what if she seen something? So then, she came over. No, he went over to her and asked her, have you seen my wife? Like, do you know about my wife? And the lady was like, no, I don't. And so he was like, yes, you do. And he killed her too. And then another homeless woman came around, and he asked her the same question. She said no, same story, just killed her, boom. And then while he was figuring out what to do with the 4 bodies that he just caught in the span of like 6 hours, a fisherman was there. So he was like, dang it, this fisherman could have seen something. So now he's trying to get the fisherman. He's like, dang it, gotta catch another body. So he kills the fisherman too. And now he's like, okay, I need to get rid of these before I have to kill anyone else. And I think later in his confession, he said, I can't remember the exact quote, but he said, yeah, it was a busy night. Five bodies in 1 hour. That's what he said. Something along those lines, which that is a busy night. But so he chopped them up. He takes these bodies, these remains, and he takes the meat off of them, like the muscle and the fat, and he buries whatever was left in like really shallow graves. But he takes the meat, puts them in containers, and stores them in his freezer. And I guess he's deciding what he's gonna do with this fresh meat that he just got. And he's like, man, I need some extra money. I should open up a roast beef sandwich roadside like thingy, like a food thingy, not like a food truck, but like, I don't know I forgot the word for it, but you can go in there and like you see it, right? So what he does is he takes these poor victims' meat and mixes it in with the pork meat that he uses for the roast beef, and makes it into a sandwich and sells it on the side of the road, because I guess it was like a really busy road. A lot of truck drivers go down there, and he starts selling these roast beef sandwiches, and everybody's loving them. These truck drivers are like munching down, like they love it. There was no complaints, and he even said that he tried it before he started selling it and said that it tasted just the same, like it was really good. Now, yeah, obviously he ran out of his special meat, so he had to get more. So, he would lure like homeless sex workers or homeless women who were like also on drugs, and he would take them, chop them up, and make roast beef sandwiches out of them. But one woman, he lured her there, and she was a drug addict, and she wasn't a sex worker. He got there and he hit her in the head, and I guess he thought he knocked her out or something, but when he turned her back, she got up and she ran out. Now, there's like an 8-foot fence around the area, so he was like, oh, she's not going to get anywhere. But she did. She got out, and she got the attention of like a truck driver that was going down the road, and they went and got the police. And Joe said that he knew it was over for him. He was like, he wasn't even going to fight it. He just knew. He was waiting outside for them. And, you know, soon enough, sure enough, they came. The police came, arrested him. Now, Joe in his confessions claimed to have at least 10 victims, but there wasn't any evidence of that because, you know, he claimed that people were eating it. He made it into food, so people were eating it. And they couldn't get evidence of that because people ate it, right? So, no evidence, but that's what he claimed. But in 1997, he was tried and convicted to 50 years for the kidnapping of the woman that he lured there that got away. It was hard. I couldn't find anybody's names. I'm so sorry. I'm just referring to everybody as, like, you know, the homeless people because they didn't have anyone's name anywhere, and I've looked everywhere. But I mean, I guess that's, you know, the purpose. I guess they did that on purpose, and that's understandable. But yeah, so he was convicted of 50 years for that, and then in 1998 he was convicted of the 2 murders, only 2 of them. And he was actually at first sentenced to death, but then in 2000, that was overturned, and he actually got 2 life sentences instead. And then he's in prison. And then in August of 2017, he was found dead in his prison cell. And I've looked everywhere to figure out how he died. I can't figure it out. And I read on one source that they're still investigating it, though. But it was only one source that said that out of the 10 that I read. So I don't know. I can't tell you how he died, but he was found dead in his cell. So that was the crazy story of Joseph Ray Metheny. Tell me what you think. Do you think he actually cooked these people into burgers, or do you think he was just saying that just to say it? If you have any questions or comments, suggestions, you can let me know in the comments, or I have my email in the description. You can always email me, and just let me know what you think. Once again, my name is AB, and also once again, I'm sorry I couldn't find all the information needed for this story. I really want to do this story because it's really, really, really interesting. But, there just wasn't a lot of information everywhere, so I apologize for that. But I tried my best. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!